everyone, today's video is going to be my current vegan favourites. I used to love these videos back in the day when people would do monthly favourites videos and chat about makeup and hair stuff. So I figured I would do a little bit of a vegan alternative version. I have put together 20 things I've really been loving at the moment. All sort of vegan alternatives as opposed to accidentally vegan stuff. If you want me to do this same video but with things that are accidentally vegan, I can definitely do that, but I've compiled together a list and I'm just going to chat through it with you guys. So the first thing on my list is the Applewood smoked cheese. Now this cheese is my favourite vegan cheese I think ever, all time. It is so good. It does have a smoky flavour as the name suggests, so you can't really use it for every meal, but for the most part if I'm having vegan cheese it's that one. It melts really well, I really love the texture. It is my favourite cheese for like cheese and crackers. It is so good. Honestly, I feel like vegan cheese is very hit or miss. It's a very personal choice. I feel like people have to go through quite the journey to find cheeses that they like. But I do think for the most part this Applewood smoked cheese is enjoyed by everyone. If you like smoky cheese, obviously if you don't then you're not going to enjoy it. I will say though, if you are kind of new to veganism or you're trying to transition to be a vegan, I would recommend just going cold turkey with the cheese for a few weeks and then reintroducing vegan cheese, because I think if you go from regular cheese to vegan cheese like overnight, you can tell the difference and it's just way harder to get on board with the vegan stuff. So I would cut it out for a few weeks, forget what regular cheese tastes like, and then introduce the vegan stuff, and it definitely makes them taste a whole lot nicer. The next thing is a vegan butter. So the Vitalite spread is my favourite vegan butter at the moment. It is more of like a margarine, it's not like a block butter, which they are introducing way more vegan alternatives of. Personally, I'm not the biggest fan because I just find them really annoying to spread. I've always been more of a spreadable butter kind of person, so the Vitalite stuff is really great. It's definitely, like I said, more of a margarine if you're into that sort of stuff, but I really like it. It's pretty affordable, cheap and cheerful, and it definitely does the job. The next few things are some meat alternatives. So the first one being Kebab Meat. I think as a whole is a really good vegan meat alternative brand. I love their burgers, I think they're really great, but the Kebab Meat is my go-to for them. I always have a bag in the freezer. If I don't know what to have for dinner one evening, I'll just fry up some of the Kebab Meat with some vegetables and make like a fajita sort of meal. Great for any sort of kebabs, obviously, as the name suggests. It's got a really great meaty texture and I really like the seasoning that they put on the kebab one. I know they have a few variations with their like bagged meats, which sounds very strange, but the kebab one is definitely my favourite from them. In terms of vegan sausages, I was going to put the Richmond ones on my list because they're great. Everyone knows they're great. Obviously, they're similar to the Richmond ones if you've had those before. This is definitely more of like the British sausages, I guess, as opposed to any sort of like hot dogs. But when I was writing the list, I actually decided to put the Naked Glory sausages on there instead. I had these, I was going to say recently, but it would have been like 6 months ago now, which is just mad. But I had them with my dad, who's an avid meat eater, and he really enjoyed them and said that he would buy them again. So I feel like that speaks volumes. If you're looking for more of a realistic sausage, I would give those a try. I think they're like a similar price range to the Richmond ones, so fairly affordable and really great for things like sausage sandwiches when you need like a good old British sausage. I already mentioned the burgers, but the burgers I actually added on my list were the Tesco Plant Chef range burgers. If you've seen my vegan taste test, you would have seen me try those in there. But I just really enjoyed them. They're really affordable. I think they're £1.50, which compared to some vegan burgers where they're like £2, £3, £4, £5 in the case of the Beyond Burger, which is just so bizarre and baffling to me. I could never spend so much money on a burger from a supermarket. But the Plant Chef ones from Tesco I really enjoy. They're definitely more of like the realistic meat burgers, which is my personal preference. I'm not a big fan of bean burgers and like mushed up vegetables. I think growing up a vegetarian for like 20 years and that being the only vegetarian option in most like places, I'm just sick of it now. Any sort of like mushy vegetable I'm just not the biggest fan of, so it's more of a realistic burger patty. I don't know how realistic it is because I've not eaten an actual burger in years, but it tastes really great, really good texture, and works well for barbecuing as well. To go along with the burgers, I also included the Make No Bones brioche burger buns. Now, I also tried these in that video and they're so good. I don't understand why vegan brioche buns isn't more of a thing. If I go to like a burger restaurant in town, they do a different bun for the vegan burgers, which is like a proper like bread roll. It's not a brioche bun, and I'm just like, why would you not? If they exist and they're always so much better. Why would you not just have a brioche bun with your burger instead of a regular bread roll? I don't know, just my opinion on it, but the ones from the Make No Bones company are just, they're good, and they're just as expensive as regular brioche buns, which I think is always a win when it comes to vegan alternatives. Another meat alternative item is the Linda McCartney pies. Now, I've had these for quite a few years now, I think, and they're my go-to pie when it comes to roast dinners or anything like that. I feel like there's a little bit of a debate between those and the fries ones. I've tried both, I like both. I have to say I'm not the fussiest person when it comes to food, but I really like the Linda McCartney ones. You can get them at most supermarkets. They're very standard, you keep them in the freezer, you cook them like a regular pie, and when you want like an easy quick dinner, they're great. The next thing is the Vivera bacon. Now, I tried this for the first time at Christmas this past year and it is great. It is not like a realistic bacon alternative, I don't think, in my opinion. Again, it's been a long time since I've had bacon, but it's just little pieces, I guess the equivalent to like pancetta, although again, I don't think they're comparable. I think you have to view this as like a thing in its own. But they are bacon flavoured pieces. They're great for like pasta dishes. A creamy pasta dish with those bacon pieces in is great. They're really good just to put on top of things. I had a bagel with cream cheese and those bacon pieces at Christmas and it was just great. They've got a really good flavour, really quick to cook. I think the Vivera brand as well is another one where you can't really go wrong. I've tried a few of their things and they've all been really great. The next thing is the Linda McCartney duck. This is another one of my favourites. You can actually now get a duck kit which comes with the pancakes and hoisin sauce as well, which is great because it's 2 less things that you have to pick up separately. The duck from Linda McCartney in duck pancakes is just, it's great. I've had it with so many meat eaters and they all enjoy it. It's so easy to cook. I think it takes literally a few minutes. It makes really good wraps for lunches. Honestly, if you've not tried it and you're missing that sort of food, I really recommend it. Again, I never really ate duck before, but I have eaten this with meat eaters and they've not had an issue with it. I don't know if it's one of those things where it's great, but it's not the same as duck, or if it is realistic. If you've tried both recently, let me know in a comment below what you think. But in my opinion, regardless of if it's realistic or not, it tastes really great and is another great staple to have in your freezer. And then the final meat alternative or fish alternative is the corn fish fillets. The fish fingers are also really good from corn, but I tried the fillets recently and I really enjoyed them. I made myself like a little vegan fish and chips at home and it was great. I don't really have much to say about them other than I think they're good. I wasn't a big fish fan before I went vegan, but I really enjoyed these. I do think they have somewhat of a fishy flavour, but it's definitely not overpowering. The same with the fish fingers. I'm assuming it's just the same stuff in different shapes. I remember I got a vegan fish finger sandwich from a little cafe once and they used the corn fish fingers and they just taste great. I mean, there's nothing to complain about. They're pretty standard. I don't think regular fish fingers have loads of flavour anyway, but in a sandwich and as like a vegan alternative, I think they're a really good option. So the next thing is the Asda mozzarella sticks. I am a big fan of these. I think Asda's vegan range as a whole is great. They've really expanded it over the last few months and they've got lots and lots of options. They've got things like loaded fries and a lot more ready meals that are vegan, but their mozzarella sticks in particular I just love. I think they've got a really good flavour. They don't necessarily have like a huge cheese pull like you get with regular mozzarella sticks, which back in the day used to be my favourite thing ever. I'm a big fan and I think the Asda ones do a good job at being a vegan alternative. They're also cheaper, I believe, than the other ones I've seen in places like M&S. I think M&S were one of the first few supermarkets to bring them out and now a lot more places are, which is great. But I'm definitely a big fan of the Asda ones. Also on the topic of cheese, I'm a big fan of the Sainsbury's garlic cream cheese. Now, I feel like most of the supermarket owned cheese brands are very similar. I'm pretty sure they're made by the same company, so I like the garlic cream cheese from all of the supermarkets. I like the branded ones as well. I feel like you can't really go wrong. They're sort of like the Boursin alternatives, I guess, which again I used to be absolutely obsessed with. But I could put that garlic cream cheese on anything. It's so good. I don't actually often buy it because it's one of those things that if I have it in the house, it will be gone within 24 hours maybe. But again, if you're doing like a cheese and crackers spread, I would recommend that garlic cream cheese from Sainsbury's and then the smoked Applewood one that I mentioned at the beginning. They're both really great alternatives that I think for the most part non-vegans enjoy as well. They're not very, I don't know what the right word would be, insulting. Like, I think some vegan cheeses, they're definitely an acquired taste, whereas these are quite generic. Most people enjoy them as far as I can tell. The next thing is Hellman's Mayo. Now, they brought out a vegan alternative, I think a while back now, and if you're eating regular mayo, this is such an easy switch because I don't think anyone could tell the difference between the two. I think they taste identical. I am convinced, to be honest. So I don't have anything to say other than if you like mayo, you should get this one because it tastes like regular mayo. The final savoury thing on my list is the Asda free from pesto. I think again, like the mayo, this is just another one of those switches that you can make and you won't even notice a difference. I can't tell a difference between free from pesto and regular pesto in any sense. They're both cheap. You can both get them for the same sort of price, same sort of flavour. Literally zero difference in my mind. Moving on to the sweet things, I'm going to try and go through these a little bit more quickly because I think I've been chatting a while and there's a few things to get through. I'm definitely more of a savoury person than a sweet person, but I think that just makes me a little bit more picky when it comes to the sweet stuff. So the first thing on my list is the Ben & Jerry's peanut butter ice cream. I mean, all Ben & Jerry's ice cream is great. I would never say no to any Ben & Jerry's ice cream, but in particular the peanut butter and cookie one is my favourite. If you like peanut butter, if you like Oreos, you're gonna like this ice cream. I mean, the Ben & Jerry ice cream that they use in their vegan tubs is so good. It's so creamy. It's expensive, but if you're gonna treat yourself, I definitely recommend it. In terms of vegan chocolate, I'm a big fan of the Nomo brand. I think for the most part, if I'm gonna buy myself chocolate, I'll just get dark chocolate that happens to be vegan. But if I want milk chocolate that is vegan, I will always get the Nomo one. I got their Easter eggs at Easter and they're just so good, so good. And I feel like I'm quite picky with vegan milk chocolate. A lot of them I just think they taste so sweet and almost like artificial that they're just not that enjoyable. The Nomo one is so creamy. I really love their like fruit or nut alternative. It doesn't actually have nuts in. I think it's got little crunchy bits of something or other, but it's great. I'm a big fan of chocolate that's got texture in it. And I think if you're trying to find something that is more similar to regular chocolate than a lot of the vegan alternatives out there, I would definitely give Nomo a go if you haven't already. Also chocolate related, I've included the Lazy Days Tiffin in my list. This stuff is great. You get 5 in a box. It's definitely a little bit more expensive than the kind of supermarket own brands, but their Tiffin is really great. They do a few different things. They do Rocky Road and Millionaire Shortbread, but in my opinion, the Tiffin is the best. I think Tiffin in general comes above those other options in any brand. But if you've not tried them, I'd give them a go. I think they're also a nice thing to have in the house if you have people around. They're like a bit more of a fancier biscuit, you know, and you wouldn't be able to tell they were vegan. The final few things all fall under the same sort of category, I guess, of going with other foods. I feel like that made no sense, but basically the first thing is the Alpro custard. I think for a vegan custard, this one's great. You can get it at most supermarkets. My family have this and I don't think for the most part they can tell much difference between that and other custard that you buy that's not vegan. It's just a standard custard. I'm personally a cold custard person. I feel like that's a good debate to have. Let me know in the comments below if you're a hot custard or cold custard person. I think if I'm having a hot crumble, I like to have it with cold custard, and that Alpro one is really good straight out of the carton. It's just a standard custard, you can't really go wrong with it. The next thing is the Elmley vegan cream. Now I think this is relatively new. I've only had it a couple of times because for the most part I get the Alpro one, but the Elmley one is definitely better. It's next level. It's so good. I personally haven't tried the one that you can whip up, which I think is crazy that they've done that with vegan cream, but I've had the one that you just kind of pour. I've made savoury dishes with it. I've had it on sweet foods. It's just a standard cream. It's Elmley brand, which I think helps when it comes to vegan alternatives if you're living with people that aren't so accepting and they're not willing to try things. If they see it's like a normal brand that they would buy cream from anyway, they probably wouldn't think twice and be like, oh my goodness, this is vegan cream, this is going to be disgusting. It tastes like cream. There's not really anything else to say about it. And then the final thing is another cream alternative, and that is the Food Heavens spray cream. This is just a pretty standard whippy cream from the can. I grew up loving the non-vegan stuff, so the fact that there's a vegan alternative is just great in my eyes. Again, one of those things I don't really think you can tell too much of a difference of. Like, you put it on hot chocolate, you're not directly tasting the cream necessarily, but I think it tastes like regular cream from what I remember it tasting like. So if you're looking for a spray cream for hot chocolates or anything else, I definitely recommend that one. And they have been all of my current vegan favourites. I feel like I've just rambled for a very long time. Definitely let me know if you're vegan, what your favourite alternatives are. I'm always looking to try new things. I am planning on doing like a pretty big order, I think, of some vegan alternatives as a little treat coming up, so you might potentially see that on my channel. But let me know what your current favourites are and I might try some of those as well. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!